How does the EV battery industry overcome a skills gap? Which European new car markets are performing best after the first half of 2025? And are solid-state batteries finally on the way? This is the Automotive Update from AutoVista 24. I'm Phil Curry, Special Content Editor at AutoVista 24, here with the latest edition of the Automotive Update. I'm here to guide you through the stories, analysis and event coverage from autovista24.com and the wider automotive industry over the last 7 days. We start with a look at one of the big talking points from this year's Battery Cells and Systems Expo, which took place in Birmingham in the UK this week. The event brings together EV battery manufacturers, users and the related supply chain to discuss this growing industry. Alongside the exhibition stands featuring car makers, battery cell producers, electric utility companies and more is a conference stage with discussion on key topics facing this growing market. Tom Spencer, director at Beat Industrial Communications, commented that skills are becoming more important than ever in the battery industry. Around 75% of the supply chain is based around China, he said, which has caused other markets to look at the technology as sovereign infrastructure capability. The question for the UK market, with gigafactories being built, is where to find staff, he added. Tony Harper, director at Tony Harper Consultancy Services, added that when initial funding was released to the automotive sector in 2017 to develop a battery industry in the UK, little was spent on skills. As we approached the second phase of the build-up plans, it became increasingly clear that it was not tenable for us to support the growth of the industry and not support skills, he told the audience. So we went to those building the gigafactories and asked them what they needed. They highlighted the fact that thousands and thousands of people would need to be found and trained in a variety of positions to support battery development, manufacturing and supply, he added. Steve Doyle, CEO at Evra Recruitment, broke down the numbers of people needed in different areas. He highlighted that the Faraday Battery Challenge, part of the UK Research and Innovation Challenge Fund, identified that 270,000 people will be employed by the EV and battery market by 2040. Of these, 90,000 will be in newly created jobs, and 30,000 of these will sit in the gigafactory and supply chain markets. However, he added that issues stem from finding the right people to place in these jobs. If you want to recruit for a gigafactory, you cannot recruit from the gigafactory next door because it doesn't exist yet, he told the audience. You first have to break the manufacturing processes down. You have powder handling, slurries, deposition, coating, calendaring, slitting, electrolyte filling, welding, and so on. And people doing these jobs exist today, he went on to say. While academic institutes are doing a great job of training the next generation, we can recruit for today. Doyle went on to offer examples, such as looking at the coating and deposition sector, which is similar to things happening in the print industry. We went on to find that electrolyte filling processes could be linked to a company that was putting soy sauce into sachets, he continued. There is also potential to recruit from China, which has a large number of gigafactories. There are executives in China who understand the market, understand the talent, and speak good English. It is the same with scientists in the country as well. So let's get some of that knowledge by partnering with China and learn from them, Doyle concluded. This week, AutoVista 24 has covered the latest registrations figures with detailed analysis from the big 5 European markets. Data from France, Germany, Italy, Spain and the UK have all been evaluated, with each market's performance in the first half of 2025 assessed. Of these markets, the most stable and the one with the largest registrations improvement between January and June of this year is Spain. Between these months, the country has seen volumes of new cars increase by 13.9%. This has been led by electric vehicles, with plug-in hybrids and battery electric vehicles combined achieving an 83.1% improvement in the first half of the year. The UK is the only other market to have achieved year-on-year growth in the 6-month period. Its registration figures are up 3.5%, again driven by EVs. However, at the halfway point of the year, the country's BEV market share sits at 21.6%. While this is up 5 percentage points, the figure is some way below the country's zero-emission vehicle mandate target of 28%. In Italy, Registrations have fallen 3.6% in the first half of the year. Until June, figures were relatively stable. However, the month's 17.4% drop pulled the market down. This decline is down to a problematic internal combustion engine sector, which has seen combined petrol and diesel deliveries drop 22%. BEV registrations also saw a big fall in the month, denting their year-to-date growth. Germany ended the first half of 2025 with a decline of 4.7% in its new car volumes. While its EV market has flourished, the drop can be attributed to its petrol and diesel market. Germany was one of the leading diesel markets in recent years, even as strong declines were observed in other regions. Now, however, diesel deliveries are down 23.3%, while petrol has declined 27.8%, impacting figures in the 6-month period. Finally, France has suffered the worst results in the first half of 2025. The country's market is down 7.8% at the halfway stage, with all but the hybrid market, made up of full and mild hybrids, suffering. Their rise of 47.5% has not been enough to offset steep losses in the petrol and plug-in hybrid markets, with BEVs also struggling. You can read the full market breakdowns, including detailed analysis of powertrain performance, at autovista24.com. There will also be links in the show notes. Make sure you're signed up for our email, that way you'll get the latest news straight to your inbox. And subscribe to the Autovista24 podcast wherever you listen to us. Also check out Autovista24's YouTube channel too. There you'll find out what is explainer videos, launch report series, and webinar recordings. BYD is researching solid-state batteries with plans to begin installing a large pilot series in 2027, Vision Mobility has reported. After the initial testing and development phase, the company believes the technology could be widespread in electric vehicles from 2030. Between 2027 and 2029, these are to be tested primarily in mid to high-class electric cars before entering the mass market from 2030 to 2032. In the long term, BYD expects the cost of solid-state and liquid ternary batteries to equalize. BYD's chief scientist and chief engineer, Lian Yubu, considers a major breakthrough in 3 years to be difficult, but sees a realistic timeframe of 5 years. Despite progress in solid-state batteries, BYD assumes that lithium iron phosphate batteries will continue to play a significant role in the next 15 to 20 years. These are primarily intended for use in more affordable vehicle models, while solid-state batteries are mainly intended for higher-end vehicles. Mercedes-Benz is also planning to roll out solid-state batteries in its vehicles by the end of this decade. The carmaker is currently testing the technology in a modified EQS model, according to Automotive World. Solid-state brings a huge increase in cell density, explained Hugh Keller, head of Mercedes-Benz battery development. With today's lithium-ion batteries, you get a gravimetric energy density of 200 to 300 watt-hours per kilogram. With solid-state, we're going up to 450 watt-hours per kilogram. That means we can get 25% more range from the same size and weight of battery. Toyota also believes that solid-state batteries could be a game-changer in the industry. Executive Vice President Hiroki Nakajima opened up about the importance of the technology in a recent interview, according to Driven Car Guide. We are developing all solid-state batteries with a view to solving these BEV issues in a single stroke. They offer far shorter charging times, higher output for longer range, and greatly improved durability, said Nakajima. However, he also went on to warn that there is no certainty the carmaker could develop solid-state batteries on scale, highlighting that development is always unpredictable. Chinese carmaker Chery has announced plans to launch its own brand in the UK. The company already sells vehicles in the country through its Omoda and JQ marks. Chery will launch with 2 SUV models, the Tiggo 8 and the Tiggo 8 CSH, which will be available for a UK-wide dealer network. This comes as the BBC reports that 1 in 10 cars sold in the UK during June were made in China. Brands such as BYD, JQ and Omoda are growing rapidly, while MG, owned by SAIC, is well established in the market. There has been a particular surge over the past few months, at a time when most other G7 countries had levied significant extra tariffs against Chinese-made BEVs. The UK has not introduced tariffs on these models, and at present it appears there are no plans to do so. If you'd like to explore today's stories in more depth, head to the show notes and click the link to our companion article on AutoVista 24. A big thanks to AutoVista 24 web editor James Roberts for co-producing this episode. An additional thanks go to AutoVista 24 journalist Tom Hooker. The music was Better Find a Solution Fast by Richard Ames. Thanks for listening to the AutoVista 24 podcast.